And of course, a little basil to garnish at the very, very top. There.
Lovely.
Buongiorno, look at this beautiful plant which Julia has grown. This is a zucchini plant, and today...
English version, we
English
must point
version.
out.
Today I will be cooking a pasta which is something which originates from Nerano in the Amalfi Coast. I'll be doing my own version, and I will be using three key components of the zucchini: the leaves, the flower and the zucchini itself. I will be picking 4 leaves, and I'll just go in with the scissors like this. The flowers, they grow on top of the zucchini, if you look, and I will be turning it with my fingers, and it comes off very, very easily, and I'll leave the zucchini as this will continue growing.
You just come in, see if I can see the little... Oh yeah, the little babies, look.
Lots of people actually throw the leaves and the flowers away, not being aware that it's something that you can eat. The leaves themselves are a great source of vitamin A and vitamin C, which is great for the immune system and healthy skin, but also the flowers are rich in antioxidants, again very, very good to have those, and they are very low in calories and rich in fiber, so they help your digestive system no end. And the last thing I'll pick is this beautiful courgette. I'll go at the bottom with my scissors and remove it.
Oh, that's a beast. I'm pleased with these. Bearing in mind, I actually bought... I wanted to buy one round courgette because I'd never had that before, and I wanted a normal long one, but I managed to pick up 2 of the wrong plants, so we've got 2 of the ball courgettes this year, but they're lovely. They taste lovely, don't they?
And this is actually the 3rd one we're going to eat from this plant, and there are still a few more growing, so not over yet. I'll cook this later today, and I'll make my own version of pasta alla Nerano, so I'll see you in a few hours' time. A few hours later, and I am back. Time to cook pasta alla Nerano. We are having some really glorious days at the moment here in England. Temperature approximately 25. This morning, after I picked the courgette, I edited and cut a video. Actually, it's a steak I did on the barbecue at the weekend. I'll put the link up here if you're interested. And then after that, I went for a 1-hour bike ride in the woods. We got some lovely woodlands, literally a stone throw away from where we live. And then I came back. I did about half an hour on a rowing machine. And then I jumped into our Olympic-size 6-foot paddling pool for about half an hour to cool down. And then I spent about an hour in the garden sunbathing. Absolutely lovely day, relaxing, and really, really nice. What sort of day did you have? Let me know. As often is the case, easy recipes are very, very tasty, but I will walk you through the ingredients very briefly. So you're aware of the courgette, the leaves, and the flowers. I will be using some butter, but also some Parmesan cheese, which I grated earlier. The pasta of my choice today is linguine, but also you can use spaghetti or any pasta of your preference. Salt and pepper, olive oil, and a little basil. That is pretty much it. And my zucchini leaves is where I start from. I've got a pot of hot water with some salt, and I'm gonna be adding them literally as they are. And I'm keeping the stems at the moment for a specific reason. That is because I will pull them out in a moment and I don't want to burn myself. After a couple of minutes, I'm going to be removing a couple of the leaves and put them in some cold water here so that they stop cooking. And I'll leave these for another 2 to 3 minutes. I want them to cook throughout. So these have been boiling now for a good 5 minutes. They are done. I will quickly put them in cold water as well. And I'll move them on a separate board on some kitchen paper so that they can dry. I'll keep this water as I will be cooking the pasta in here. I will want my courgette to be very, very fine, and I'm going to be using a vegetable slicer. This is set at approximately 1.5 millimeter. And I'll try and get hold of this monster of a courgette and start slicing it. You can use any courgette to do this, of course, and I'm using this one because it's from our garden, and actually, admittedly, a normal long courgette most probably would be considerably easier. If you do not have a vegetable slicer like this one, by all means do them with a knife, but ensure that you do them as thin as you possibly can. I think it's about time for me to stop. I've done a good half. It's just Julie and I eating, and I think there's plenty here for both of us. And I'll put this in some cling film and I'll place it in the fridge, and tomorrow I'll cook something else with it. Generous amount of olive oil in a saucepan. I'll add the courgette, some salt and some pepper. And I will leave them to fry for about 5 minutes. They're very thinly sliced, so it will not be long before they're cooked. In the meantime, I will deal with the leaves. These are the two that were in cold water, so I'll quickly pat them dry. I'll go at the very end of the stem and chop them, so this one I will go in the bin. And I'm going to slice them into little pieces. I've washed and dried the flowers, and likewise I'll chop them into little pieces as well. And add them to the chopped leaves. I mentioned basil at the beginning. This is a small handful of basil leaves, which I'm chopping as well. 5 minutes and the courgettes are cooked, and I'll turn them off for the time being, and I'll get on with the pasta. So the water is back on the hob and is boiling again. Ouch, it's boiling again, and I will be adding a little bit more hot boiling water because it's not going to be enough for my pasta. Oh, and ouch.
Could have been worse.
And I've added my linguine. This will take anything between 8 to 10 minutes to cook. And as I often say, immediately after you put the pasta in the water, just give it a short mix so it doesn't get stuck together. So while the pasta cooks, I will finish my courgette sauce. I'll take everything and add them in. And on a gentle heat, I'll mix them together. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil in the meantime, just a little. Pasta is ready, and I will reserve a little bit of the water and drain the rest. I will add the pasta, and only once the pasta is in, a generous amount of butter.
A generous knob indeed.
Sorry?
That's a generous knob indeed. Look at that whopping great lump of butter in there.
Yeah. And I'll do one final mix, and I'll add a little water because this contains nice starches. And if you look at the bottom, there is a lovely cream which is just formed, and I'm happy that this is done. Turn it off. Once it's off the heat, I will add my Parmesan cheese. I'll do this progressively so that it doesn't get stuck to the pan. And I think I'm done. I'm ready to serve it up. Here is one of the other two leaves. Make sure, by the way, that they are cooked properly. They are a little bit spiky and a bit like single natto. So in my case, 3-4 minutes was enough. But you'll have to taste it once it's cooked, because it can be a little bit unpleasant otherwise. Mine is perfectly cooked. And there it is. With a few trimmings on the top. One very last ground of pepper, and of course a little basil to garnish at the very, very top. There.
Lovely.
That is full of flavor, really creamy and really delicious. I really love it. And you can of course also eat the leaf at the bottom. That's why it's in
I
there.
will, don't you worry.
Yes. So buon appetito, and I fully recommend you make it. It's amazing how a few ingredients can make something so special. Arrivederci, buon appetito, ciao.